Another unrehearsed video. I'm on my way home. I'm gonna go pick up my wife from work, and we're gonna go take a walk together. Kind of along the lines of what I was typing this morning and this afternoon, on the same kind of thought. Do you believe God has got a plan for your life? That He's gonna divinely manipulate things into your favor to get you where you need to go, and take care of you? Would that include those of you who are you haven't got married yet? Maybe you're too young, but you plan on getting married someday. Do you believe that God has, if you're a woman, that God has prepared a man for you? He's out there somewhere, and God has prepared him for you. If you're a man, do you believe God has prepared a woman for you out there, and she's prepared for you, and she's the woman you're supposed to be with? I believe that wholeheartedly. Long story short, I know for a fact that God had prepared my wife for me. She's the perfect match for me in so many ways, and I'm the same way for her. You can just, especially after we've been together nearly 40 years, you really see it, that God had prepared us for each other. God is always preparing things. That's what he does. And I guarantee you, if you're going to get married someday, God has prepared a spouse for you. There's a person you're supposed to be with. I've seen where rock stars and movie stars, or people that just want to go out and live like hell, where they've screwed that up because they wanted to go sow their wild oats, as it were. They wanted to go play around, and they were supposed to marry the girl next door, the quote-unquote girl next door. God had it figured out, of course, that this guy was supposed to meet this girl in high school, start, get to know each other, fall in love, and get engaged, and one day get married. And that's how things were supposed to go. But I'm going to go to college one day, and I want to have fun, and I want to be a flesh pot and a pig. So they end up breaking up with this girl next door to go, their imagination tells them they're going to go live like a pig, and they go live like a pig, and they realize that these girls, there's nothing to them, and they're all whores, quite frankly. I'll just speak plain. And they come back looking for that girl, and she's gone. She's with somebody else. And obviously now she's not even with the guy that she's supposed to be with either. The whole thing got screwed up. And they spend the rest of their life jumping in and out of marriages, trying to find their soulmate, as it were, and all that. And they never do. They end up settling for somebody and trying to make a big deal out of it because it's not a big deal. And they've got second best, They don't have what they're supposed to have. But you know what? God has prepared a wife for you if you're a young man, and if you're a young lady, God has prepared a man for you. There's some young man out there that's growing up, and you're supposed to meet them, and God will, as the matchmaker, God will make sure that takes place. That happened with me and my wife. I mean, just like dumb circumstances, I'm not even going to go into it, but it was, you couldn't make it up. You couldn't manipulate it. It was just God working things out to where next thing I know, boom, within, a very short period of time, we're almost shoved together, and we can't imagine being without each other for even an hour at that point. It was just insane. But God manipulated that. And one of the points I want to make here is this individual, this spouse that you're going to fall in love with and marry, would you want to cheat on them? Would you want to break their heart? No, you wouldn't, right? So why would you want to cheat on them? Well, I haven't met them yet. I may not meet them for another 5 or 10 years. Well, my question is still the same. Why would you want to cheat on them 10 years before you meet them? You ever thought about that? How come nobody's ever brought that up before? How come no one's ever asked you that before? Did you know that you could cheat on your wife, cheat on your spouse 5 to 10 years before you ever meet them? You're supposed to be only with them in your lifetime. I know that's an archaic idea. I know that's an old-fashioned idea, but it's still true. And you go and physically mess around with someone you're not supposed to be messing around with, and then 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, you meet the person you're supposed to marry and you marry them. You've cheated on them. You've defrauded them. You've gone and, you've gone and done things you're not supposed to do. And now, believe me, that stuff will come up. That stuff, well, I was in the back seat of a car or in some dark bedroom. No one's going to find out. That stuff, promise me, I'm promising you, actually, that stuff will come up. It's like trying to take a wild cat and you're going to stuff it in this cat carrier and you're going to put a lock on it. I'm not going to let this cat get away. Somehow that cat is going to manipulate that lock. It's going to get out of that carrier. Next thing you know, that cat is running around screaming. And you're going to get clawed. And you're going to get bitten. It just has a way of getting out. You can't keep it in the cage. And you thought you were so careful. You thought you were so sneaky. Somehow, someone talks. Someone finds out about it. It doesn't stay locked away, and it comes out eventually. And this individual that you love more than anybody, okay? This person that means more to you than any other person in the world, they find out about it, and it hurts them. It hurts them bad. And you defiled yourself. And I'm trying to be careful with my words here. But you just went and rolled around in mud, and now you're going to go hug this person that, you fell in love with, and you're going to get mud all over them. You're going to hurt them. And that thing is, I'm telling you, 10 years into your marriage, 20 years into your marriage, 30 years into your marriage. Well, it's done. Well, it's forgiven. Yeah, it might be forgiven. And you talked about it and you thought, okay, forgive and forget, and it has a way of just coming back up because it hurts bad. You talk to these individuals that, like my uncle, he was in Vietnam. He was a Marine in Vietnam, a hero in Vietnam, went through all kinds of stuff. And here, over 50 years later, he's still having dreams about it. He still has the PTSD about it. And he still relives that hell every once in a while. And he's been a close uncle of mine for my whole life. One of my closest family members. And I've seen where he's gotten the victory over that thing, and you can just tell Uncle Milt is doing really well. He's not having a problem with it right now. And then he'll have a time period where he really struggles with it, and he's having a real hard time with it. And then he goes back again, he's got the victory over it, and then he struggles with it again, and it just comes back. And you say, well, are you comparing that kind of situation to a Marine in Vietnam? Yeah, you know why? It's a very, very deep pain. And it doesn't matter whether it's something from Vietnam or Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever, that some horrific, deep, painful experience that cuts you deeply, or you find out that your beloved wife or your beloved husband was rolling around in mud before they got together with you. That can deeply cut. Now, I'll admit there are some people out there that they just got a hide like a rhinoceros. They got a hide like an armadillo, and that stuff just kind of rolls off of them. And maybe they're just calloused. I really don't understand it. But someone like me, someone like my wife, we're very jealous. We're like, keep your hands off of that person right there. And stuff like that, it just, we're not okay with it. And that kind of stuff just, it cuts deep. And the wound doesn't heal up overnight. In fact, years and years later, it comes back up, those kinds of things. Don't let it happen. The Catholic Church has a purgatory that's not biblical. And their idea is the idea of a humanist. It's a humanist idea that time will wash away sin. Time will get rid of sin, and it will be gone. And time has nothing to do with sin. The reason why an individual can sin and maybe 90 years later go to hell with that sin, and God is still upset over that sin, is God is in eternity. He doesn't see things in a timeline where it was like, well, that was 80 or 90 years ago. I guess I'm over that now. No, he's not over it. It's just like it happened 5 minutes ago, even though it happened 90 years ago. And we think in terms of time. Well, I did that when I was 17. I did that when I was 15. I did that when I was 18. And, now we're 30. It shouldn't be a big deal. It is a big deal, just like it happened yesterday. Time has nothing to do with it. It's still there. It was still done. It was still something that you did. Or it was still something that your spouse did. And it's just like it happened yesterday. So look, don't let that happen. Don't cheat on your spouse 5 years or 10 years before you meet them, because you can. And you know what? You'll be cheating on yourself too, because when you get into that beautiful marriage, into that beautiful relationship with your spouse, and that thing does find a way to crop up, and it will, you're going to find that you cheated yourself. You don't want that to come up, and then you got to explain things, and you got to try and console your spouse, and it creates a mess that you now have to deal with, and it becomes as hard on you as it is on your spouse. And you thought, oh, I'm going to do this out of fun. I'm going to do this because I'm going to get my kicks. And you get your kicks for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. And you end up suffering with that thing for months and months and years, and it keeps coming back up. For what? Look, if someone offered me a slice of pizza and it looked like a really delicious piece of pizza, and they said, oh, there's one catch. I said, what's that? Well, it'll give you a stomach ache. And the stomach ache may not come up for, maybe a month or maybe a year or two, but you're going to get a really, really bad stomach ache. And it might be that for the rest of your life, you're going to have to deal with stomach aches coming and going. And it's kind of a funny pizza. Your spouse will have stomach aches that will come and go from time to time as well. You're going to have to deal with that for the rest of your life, and your spouse will probably have to as well. But it's a tasty pizza. Here, have it. Here, have a slice. No, thank you. Keep your pizza. I don't want it. Keep your cursed pizza. You know what I'm saying? So don't let your flesh have the victory. Don't sacrifice the permanent on the altar of the immediate. So I hope this helps someone. I hope this helps someone's marriage. Amen.